Chapter 1. Birth and Loss. Stunna Benjamin entered the world on a cold, rainy night in late October. The air was thick with the kind of dampness that clung to the skin, as if nature itself was mourning the events that would unfold in the small hospital room. Stunna's father, Samuel Benjamin, stood by the side of his laboring wife, holding her hand with a grip that conveyed both his love and his fear. They had been so close to realizing their dreams of a complete family, but fate had a different plan. The birth was difficult, complications arose, and the doctors moved with an urgency that spoke volumes. Samuel's heart pounded in his chest, a wild rhythm that matched the frantic energy of the room. He felt helpless, a spectator to the most significant moment of his life, a moment that was slipping through his fingers like sand. Finally, Stunna's cries filled the room, piercing the tension like a knife. Samuel's eyes flooded with tears, a mixture of overwhelming joy and gnawing dread. But as he looked at his newborn son, his joy was tempered by the silence that followed. The doctors were still working frantically, their focus shifting away from the child and back to his mother. Within minutes, the reality became clear. Samuel's wife, the love of his life, was gone. The doctors offered their condolences, their words hollow and echoing in the sterile room. Samuel's world shattered in an instant. He was a father now, but he had become one at the expense of his wife. The weight of his dual roles, protector and nurturer, provider and comforter, crashed down on him, threatening to crush his spirit before he even began. The weeks that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and endless tears. Samuel struggled to balance his grief with the demands of caring for a newborn. He was a truck driver by trade, and his job had always required long hours on the road. Now, the road felt even longer, a lonely stretch of asphalt where his thoughts could wander back to the life he had lost. Despite the overwhelming challenges, Samuel was determined to give Stunna the life his wife would have wanted for their son. He became a father with a mission, channeling his grief into the role. He found a sitter in the neighborhood, an elderly woman who treated Stunna like her own grandchild. When Samuel was away on long hauls, he called every chance he got, asking about Stunna's feeding schedule, his first smiles, his first steps. These moments were a lifeline, grounding Samuel when the grief threatened to swallow him whole. As Stunna grew, he became the spitting image of his mother. Her eyes, her smile, even her stubborn streak seemed to live on in him. Each milestone was bittersweet for Samuel, a reminder of what could have been. But he never let his son see his sorrow. To Stunna, Samuel was a rock, strong, dependable, and always there when it mattered. But Stunna felt the loss too, even if he couldn't fully comprehend it. He would see other children with their mothers and feel an ache he couldn't quite explain. He would ask Samuel about her, and his father would share stories that painted her as a loving, vibrant woman who had adored him even before he was born. These stories became a part of Stunna's identity, a way to connect with the mother he never knew. As Stunna entered school, he became aware of how different his family was. He noticed the pitying looks from teachers and the whispered conversations between other parents. He was the boy who had no mother, the child who had been born into loss. But Samuel made sure that Stunna never felt less because of it. He taught his son resilience, showing him that their little family was strong enough to weather any storm. Stunna's childhood was marked by this duality, joy and sorrow, presence and absence. He learned to find strength in his father's unwavering love and to cope with the loss that had been his entry into the world. As he grew older, the weight of his mother's absence shaped him, influencing his choices and his view of the world. He was Stunna Benjamin, the boy born from tragedy, but raised with a love so deep it could heal even the most profound wounds. And as he looked ahead to the future, he carried with him the lessons his father had taught him, ready to face whatever life had in store.